Okay, friends. Well, hello. So we're going to start a little reflection and group discussion. And we're going to talk about motivations based on an article that was written by Dr. Jaydeva Yogendra in August 94, 1994. And I don't know, some of you know him, some of you don't. I think for me personally, he's one of the importantest yoga teachers of our modern era. I think for me, he's more than just one of the, he's really one of the two teachers that really influenced me a lot. And since I didn't come from the Indian culture, so I don't have any guru, but I think he set an example for a person that really lived the life that he was preaching about or teaching about. Like there was not a sense of, due to what I came to realize, there was not such a big balance because between the way he lived and what he taught, what he taught. And but anyway, we're going to read him a little, and I'll start with reading this little article. You can stop me in the middle to ask any questions if you want. And after that, we can reflect together about this subject. Okay, so I'll try to read it slowly, and I hope you understand. You hear my voice. I've heard the word, friends. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. So the subject is style of living, style of life. The external behavior, the external interaction with the outside world, the various feelings, all this attracts our attention. To us, this is important. How we reacted, how certain feelings arose, how certain thoughts came, how we function, or even at the grosser level, whether we succeeded in an undertaking, whether we made money, all these activities, they are very, very external and superficial. There is something behind these actions. What is the motivation? What is the objective? What is it that really we want, which leads to the action and activity? This is a deeper issue. The external behavior is one thing, the way we live is one thing, our style of life. But what is it that makes for that style of life? One can't just wash off one's hands and say, well, I don't know, somehow I function like this. These are my problems, and this is the way I have created my relationships with others. I can tell. And so I go on. We have to take certain blame on ourselves in case we find that we are in a difficult situation, that we have created a world around us which is not fully pleasant to us. What yoga, what yoga would tell us is to go a little deeper, to go a little deeper into our own self, to understand our own nature, understand our own motivations, to see a connection between inner motivations and inner motives, our inner urges, and the various activities. Those are done as a result. There is a connection between the two. One should not run away from one's responsibilities and just throw the blame on the external situations and circumstances. It is very easy to say this. And in those situations, even we are continuously trying to improve things. We are trying to change situations, change jobs, change places. No solutions come because the solution doesn't lie there at all. And it was the short article. It was published in Yoga and Total Health. This is the magazine of this institute that he was running, Mr. Jaidev, the Yoga Institute. And he was just a teacher that was not a person of long discussions or of big words or of long articles, even though he had a PhD in Indian study that he was writing his PhD about Sankhya. Lettings now, what do you think he was talking about when he was talking about the subject of motivations? What do you think he meant by reminding or talking about motivations in life? Do you have any idea, friends? Okay, I'll try and explain a little about what I understand from what was written there. We in yoga we have some big topics, we have some big words, we have some big subjects. We can be very, very good in terms. We can be very good in knowing the terms. We can even chant a lot of things in Sanskrit or whatever, which is, of course, all important. Still, the main thing is raising the awareness toward ourselves in a way that is very honest and frank. First of all, towards ourselves. Now, this honesty towards ourselves is something that is very intimate. It's something that generally we don't share too much, even with our closest friends. We have some of this knowledge or some of this understanding inside ourselves, like we keep it towards ourselves. But sometimes we might even try to hide it, like to escape from challenging or from knowing it. Like when we know it, we just turn away and forget about it. Dr. Jaydeva was talking about motivations as a main thing in life. Like if we know what runs after our activities, our tasks, our desires, our decisions, our connections with other people, with ourselves, with life, uh, it it will be first of all the most spiritual thing that we can do as human beings in this life. Like if we will know what runs us, if we will know for ourselves what really, really do we want, who is the one and what is the one that really plays life for us. And the call in yoga is to find out always, to ask ourselves what was the motivation behind my reaction, behind my activity, behind my decision, behind my purpose, behind my mistakes, behind my reactions, which is a very, very hard question to answer. Sometimes you need to be very brave to know whether your reaction or decision or action was really like objective or was it more subjective. And as long as we reflect, as long as we reflect deeply towards these matters, we might be freer to understand ourselves and then freer in this world, in this physical world, in this material world that we are all living inside. And in many times we try just throw away this understanding by shifting positions always. Like someone is sure that if he or he will like separate from her spouse, from her friend, from whatever, this will solve or his or her problem. Which sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And so there is a tendency to be who we are and just to you know, and just to make it again and do it again because we don't really try to understand what was behind our decisions, what runs us. And so we never learn, and so we can never correct. And so there is a cycle of misery and suffering that we might be interlinked into. In general, this is what he was talking about. He was not referring to yoga as a group of physical activities or even not techniques, even though he was really fond of techniques, but as a style of life, a way that will always makes us try, reflect towards ourselves, and be frank, be honest. If not with others, so at least that we will know. If we hate someone, we'll know, maybe we'll know why. If we are doing something or we decided something, maybe we will know why. And that will free us from the real bondages, the stories that we tell ourselves, and the many mistakes that we keep on doing, sometimes tremendously in a repetitive way during our life. Style of life means yoga due to Dr. Jaydeva, that had his birthday one day before he passed away. Here he's back. But anyway, I thought that it can be a nice opportunity to remember his really, really unique teachings of yoga. Friends, some comments, some reflections, some remarks, some questions. Friends, what I was saying before was just my personal understanding. You know, when somebody tried to write things, it's not an intellectual message directly. It's not like, even though a kind of scientific information or even the information. People are trying to be very short in words, be less expressive regarding feelings, and much more giving us the opportunity to ponder about the subject and to reflect.
Actually, the subject is pretty deep for one reading to understand.
So, you want me to read it again?
No, it's okay. But what I'm saying is, it needs a lot of thinking and pondering over it.
Sure. Of course. Of course. It's like very simple, still we can think about it a lifelong thoughts, you know. You can be with it like for a long time and for your whole of your life because we are all acting, reacting, making our decisions. We made our decisions, and you know we can go deeply into what, as you said, deep is the word in trying to understand the motivations. What made us do that or react? So maybe you know the practice of swadhyaya, the practice of self-study, which is one of really main techniques in yoga, which mean learning from life. Okay, reading a scripture and thinking about it, but if you take like higher or deeper subjects, and if you take them down to us, which was really the profession of this yoga teacher, Dr. Jaydeva Yogendra. His name was Dr. Sa, by the way, and he was the son of the founder of this yoga institute in Mumbai, and with some of the people here are connected too somehow. And he was really taking the big subject of yoga down to earth. He didn't allow people to run away back into deep words, to big terms, you know. saying many high things about many high subjects, but he was asking his student just to go down to earth and to see their life, the way of living, and to reflect them in the eyes of this ancient philosophy and teaching.
Well, I live very close to the Yoga Institute in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Been an student of that institute, and a lot of writings and a lot of teachings are available there, and they are very, very profound. Very profound.
Yeah. Yes, there are. There are because yes, there are. And
But it has been simplified also to a very large extent that the layman can understand it.
sure, sure. Because the main understanding was that the practice of the layman is the most hardest practice, because if you are a sannyasi, if you are living without anything, you are living on the top of the mountain and you just sit there, and what you have to do all day is just, practice your things. You don't challenge many things that a layman having, to hold his life, to work, and this
So yoga
practice of,
is easy for the common man and the householder.
yeah, this is why they call them the householders yogis, which are people that live normal life, don't wear any orange whatever, and they try to bring yoga into normal real life, which is a big challenge, but yet a very interesting, I suppose. Yeah. So yes, these teachings can be read. There is you can find them in the Yoga Institute. You can put your hands. This is the book I was reading from. Like I was learning with him personally when I was there during these years. But they collected some of his articles into a book that I have. So I'm not trying to promote anything here, and I'm not even trying to promote the Yoga Institute. But you can try and read it, because there are many articles that they put together in for the service of students of yoga. And personally, I many times, just take this book, read one thing like that, and then I have it with me and think about it for a long while. And then again. Vince, anything else to say here? So, thank you for this time, and then let's hope the practice of yoga will enter our life in a practical way that will make us change our life for the betterment of ourselves, our quality of life, our health, the life of others, the ability to live with peace within ourselves and within the community of humans, and not only humans around the world. Okay.